Hello and welcome yet again to another episode in the series, Homo Politicus. I am Cyril Abaku, standing in for your regular host, Citizen Jones Hussein. Today, Tinubu's administration sliding into fascism, Afenifere warns. Now, a wise man said one time that followers who tell the truth and leaders who listen to it are often an unbeatable combination. Those are the words actually of the American author and leadership expert Warren Bennis. Now, a section of the Nigerian political public, the foremost pan-Yoruba socio-political organization, the Afenifere, are telling Mr. President what appears to be a truth many Nigerians believe to be the truth indeed. Dear Mr. President, your administration is sliding into fascism. This is a warning, but also a scorecard of the president's performance about a year and 4 months after his ascendancy as president. But the question is, what exactly are the grounds upon which the Afenifere are basing Mr. President's lack of good performance on? 1. Hounding perceived opponents. 2. Superintending an economy that has led into inflation and the naira whose funeral we've stopped short of singing. 3. The shrinking of the civic space. Well, let's take these three together. Moving on. Unlike other disinterested groups, the Afenifere say they will not remain bystanders. In fact, they disclose plans to create a political group to wrest power from the ruling government in 2027 general elections. That's quite a lot. And no leader sits back with folded arms when being approached by those who are vying for his job. Well, now that the Afenifere has spoken, where do we go next? I have two gentlemen to broach the subject with me in the studio today. I have the unpardonable Barrister Evans Ofeli. Barrister, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
I also have the breezy and ebullient Emeka Madonago. Emeka, welcome to the program.
Hello, and hello viewers. Thank you very much.
Emeka is a journalist and public affairs commentator. He's been at this now for nearly 30 years, so he's been there since that when it comes to the political landscape in our country. And of course, Barrister Evans Ofeli has also been very much a known face on Nigerian TV screens for quite some time now. Barrister, welcome to the program once again.
Thank you very much.
Now, gentlemen, for the first time we're seeing, this is not the Labour Party, not the PDP or the NNPP, we're seeing a group that is political but not always partisan. And now they've said that what they actually said was that they will either team up with a party that believes in ideology or they will create one. But their target is Mr. President has already failed and they want his job. Is this a tall order or are they saying the right things you want to hear?
Well, it's both a tall order and the right thing.
Okay.
But what is more important about the message is that his kinsmen are calling on him to say you have failed. If we want to be very dispassionate, because as citizens, we don't share tribal ties with the president. So we can talk to a point, forgive him his trespasses and those who trespass against him. But when your kinsmen begin to call on you, that's from Etwa. You understand? That is for elders. What will kill elders? Okay, it's when they see and don't talk. But what will kill children is when the elders talk and they don't listen.
Oh wow.
That's exactly what his kinsmen are telling.
That's profound.
So if we take down every other consideration and just look at his kinsmen, just look at them, say, your own, they are saying your government is sliding to fascism. What that means is that blocks have been laid down. Processes have been laid down to that effect that first you are hounding protesters. You are turning civil liberty and civil rights to a crime. You are criminalizing protestation, okay, which is wrong. And to that effect, you are failing. You have not managed the economy well. To that effect, you have failed. And you have no plan whatsoever to resuscitate the economy. Okay, politically you have failed. Economically you have failed. Then when you talk about the civil rights of the citizens by civil liberalization, you have failed. So in which part can Tinubu be chosen? What is Tinubu's strength? Or what is the current government's strength exactly?
Before I come to Emeka, sorry, Barisofeli, it appears that the generality of commentary in Nigeria today appears to be unanimous in saying the president seems not to have done well in almost every sector of the economy of the country. Now, but the question is, if a president comes into office and appears to be failing this much, is it that one, there are no redeeming features, and two, could it be that these failures are beyond him actually?
No, they are not beyond him.
That it was inevitable. That there's nothing anybody could have done about it.
They are not beyond him.
Okay.
He has advisors. He has an attorney general that should advise him on the issue of civil liberty, the right to protest and protestation. He has people at the economic sphere who were supposed to let him know on how to redirect and re-strategize an economy. He has people all over the space, but he seems not to listen to them, or he seems to have a mind of his own. He was to address protesters, he left it and started discussing on that. There's no way you will lead people without protest. Homo politicus. Man is a social animal. Every man is political. That's what I mean. Homo, that's human being. Politicus, politics. Humans are political. That's what it means. That's the name of the show. Okay, so every person must, agitate at a point of a grievance. When people cannot lay hold to what they naturally have to lay hold on by way of living and life, and the government have a role to play in that, and government's escalating tension, there will be protests. So knowing that, you ought to know how to manage, how to get the people to where they ought to get to by leadership, and how to manage their grievances. That is the leadership skill that he ought to deploy. He has not deployed any. He takes decisions impulsively. He does not go back to correct them when he's called. Now his kinsmen are calling him, and they are telling him that you are in a public square dancing naked. Remember that you are from a tribe. And we are the custodian of that tribe. We have declared you a failure. So what should others do?
Speaking of the president's kinsmen weighing in, from Barasa's perspective, it is also instructive that a person of no less the caliber of the Are Ona Kakanfo of Yoruba land, Chief Gani Adams, has also wrote a public letter. I'm coming to Emeka now. Wrote an open letter to the president where he stopped short of, he basically castigated Mr. President and said that the president hadn't also done well. He is displeased with the president. The message is for all Nigerians, but the voice coming from the president's own primary political constituency speaks a lot. I'm sure that's an opinion you share.
Well, I must let you know one thing. When the government begins to flounder, one thing it tells you is that the key operatives in the government are behind it. Maybe out of gross incompetence or an over-bloated sense of self or a deliberate attempt to sabotage the man who thinks he's sitting pretty. Could be any of them. The Lateef Fagbemi, Attorney General of the Federation Minister of Justice, the barrister talked about, was the same person who aided Femi Gbajabiamila, the chief of staff, in telling the Defense Intelligence Agency to go and pick a journalist, Segun Olatunji, some months ago, without informing the Minister of Information. You were straying into a colleague's territory. You didn't let the colleague know. And for some days, Segun Olatunji could not be found. The whole country was just tense.
No, but this verified information.
It's in the public space now. It's a hidden thing. It was Lateef Fagbemi, yes, it was Lateef Fagbemi who actually said they could go ahead and pick him. And then, he
gave the legal advice to the government.
Yes, no, not even to the government. And that's why I said key operatives.
Yes.
Because a member of the government, the Minister of Information, was not aware that they were going to do such a thing. They now said that out of the DIA's briefs, that there was one point there where they said the DIA can take certain instructions that may be seen to be dealing with issues inimical to national security. By the end of the day, what happened? They couldn't justify it. because they said Segun Olatunji was editing a paper that wrote something about Gbajabiamila.
First news.
Yes, first news then. At the end of the day, the whole thing was just a mess. How about the other guy, is it Ojukwu, who was working with the FIJ, Foundation for Investigative Journalism, the way he was picked? Name it. All these are just by key operatives of Tinubu's administration who just feel that, oh, we have power now, we must exercise it. But one thing I must remind them, I'll take them back to 2004, just incidentally, which was 20 years ago, when then chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Adogbe, wrote a letter to Obasanjo. So I was in Punch newspapers then. We got the letter exclusively, where he said, the title of the letter was, Mr. President, Nigeria is sliding. Then Obasanjo, instead of taking note of the issues raised, he now engineered Adogbe's removal. But some people were egging Obasanjo on. Don't worry, don't mind them, anybody, kick them out, do this, do that. After all, you should start talking of a third term. But what happened? He tried a third term but he started pushing third term by 2005. What happened? He was disgraced. In fact, he was just lucky to have left without being disgraced. Thoroughly. So, what are we talking about? Afenifere is a group that has been in the vanguard of promoting the interests of Nigerians at personal risk. At personal risks. When you had the former leaders of Afenifere, like the courageous statesman, Senator Ibrahim Adesoya, who escaped being murdered by Abacha's agents on Simpson Street, Lagos Island. Those were the people, they regularly held meetings, Afenifere meetings in Ijebu-Igbo. And the media usually waited for the communique of Afenifere because they usually contained heavy words. And you know how brutal Abacha was. But these men stood firmly. And there were some women among them. And they also supported the founding of NADECO. Incidentally, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was a member of NADECO. Now, one of the sponsors of NADECO.
Let's even go there now, because I like I was waiting for you to, and gladly went there. How is it that Mr. President's reported heroics in the NADECO and pro-democracy struggle appears now to be in reverse gear? Because virtually every single mile of game that was supposedly made, bringing Nigeria into democracy, even if for the past 25 years they've been kept intact, this president's actions in the past 1 year appear to be reversing every single game that has been made. Aren't you scandalized?
Very, very scandalized. The late J.F. Kennedy said something. Ask not what your country will do for you, but what you do for your country. Tinubu, when he was coming to power, he had a creed, a Miloko. Not Nigeria local, as in Yoruba language, that is a turn of Nigeria to be great. But it's my own turn. So when a man takes off from that premise, what you need to know is that he has declared a war on the state and on the people. And what we have in Africa, from Nigeria, across many African countries, is elite state capture. The elite capturing the state. The executive, the legislature, the judiciary is capturing the state. And they don't care whatever they do to maintain that capture. But you see, the people need veritable institutions like Afenifere, the political parties, the media, the Nigerian Bar Association, and the rest of them, to push back vigorously, which we did during the military. And you saw how they all fell in quick succession. So, one thing is very clear. Afenifere has come out courageously. Even yesterday, the APC made a freedom slip, where in a statement issued by the National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, he said, yes, we acknowledge that Tinubu's policies have brought hardship, but the usual deflection of blame, instead of taking responsibility, but it was in the course of trying to correct years of neglect. And let me tell you, if there's one person who has been involved with every government in power since 1999, is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He was governor of Lagos State for 8 years, from 1999 to 2007. Tinubu's wife was a senator, became a ranking senator. Tinubu was, founded, was one of the founders of the Alliance for Democracy, that later metamorphosed into the AC. Remember, by 2007, that gave Atiku Abubakar a ticket to run for president.
Yes. Later ACN.
Then later ACN, that produced some governors in different places, including Adams Oshiomhole. Yes. Then moved on and formed an alliance, APC, in 2013. So that captured 5 governors, captured the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and some other people from PDP, Bukola Saraki and the rest of them. By by the time it was getting to 2015, APC took power. And then Tinubu now identified himself as the national leader of APC. Now to add to it, then Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, was quoted by Punch on his cover to have said, we are implementing Tinubu's advice. That the economic policies then were as a result of Tinubu's advice. Right? So, all true. Even though there was a time he and Buhari had some, misunderstandings.
A fallout of some kind.
But he's been there. Tinubu has been there since 1999. So, for him to blame any past administration is just an admission that all he said, a master strategist, whatever, was just bunker.
Now, let's bring this matter, Barrister Feli, to where taking it one step further. Perhaps if we're able to unlock the man, we can unlock the problem. Aren't you personally worried about a man who commands such a pedigree of his own personality? He's been there, done that. He's been, since 1993, he's been involved in active politics since the Third Republic. He was elected senator. He is a close ally. He was a close ally of the late MK Abiola. So he was an insider. And he's always been an insider in the game. One wonders, how is it that if he's been the architect of so many political movements in the country, now that he's at the helm, is it that he who made kings shouldn't become one? Or that that perhaps all along we've just been watching a facade and that this isn't really who the man was, and it's now that he's unraveling? How do you unlock the Tinubu enigma?
Well, I would like to say that all the while the man has been overrated. Yeah. The man Tinubu is overrated. You see, when you...
In what way? Sorry. Is it in terms of his political strategizing or his leadership acumen? If you look at a man who's produced senators, governors, he's been in the cockpit, his wife became a senator in Lagos. You can't become anything without his, at least, his approval. Ambode, Sanwo-Olu, Fashola. Well, strategy or leadership, I don't know.
That's what I'm telling you. That. See, the man is overrated, politically speaking.
Because I assume it takes a lot more than just interest.
Yeah, when it comes to strategy and crookedness, being shrewd, and then when you add some layers of malfeasance to it, you also mirror it with the society you live in. It's a society that can always cave in to manipulation. But look at how we held Lagos, and look at how people willingly submitted to paying toll for 25 years. If not for the NSAS, they were to pay toll for 25 years for a road that's less than 5 kilometers. People submitted to it as schooled as the indigenes of Lagos State. They submitted to his authority for years, till now counting. You look at the exhibition of Alpha Beta and the several litigation that are ongoing till today, how they submitted to others. See, you could call it strategy, because strategy is neither evil nor good. Strategy is just, is a man's attempt to think, outwit, and outsmart, and collapse all structure to his advantage. So a man that is good at that may not necessarily be good at governance. Governance is not all strategy. Everything is not strategy. Governance is, like I said, democracy is man's attempt to advance humanity. That is why it calls on all to act and to represent. You understand?
As much as possible.
Yes, as much as possible. So don't say that with his pedigree. He's been involved. I agree from a long time coming, way back. He was an active player in the Third Republic. I mean, that was short-lived. Yes. That was short-lived. He was a senator under the system and all that. And he has been politically active. Through him, we have seen governors. Okay? That is not to say, but in all his success, you notice one thing about everything he has done, he succeeded in ensuring that there's no democracy in Lagos.
Wow, that's a big one.
You don't know that there's no democracy in Lagos? There's no democracy. There is no democracy in Lagos. So if you say he has produced governors, he has produced this, he produced them under what condition? Under democracy in Lagos. There's no democracy in Lagos as we speak. Lagos is just fortunate because Lagos became an extension of England in 1861. Lagos is older than Nigeria.
Tell us about that.
That's what I'm saying. A crown colony in 1861 will mean that at 1861, the Queen of England had issued a writ extending England to Lagos.
Yeah.
And she was governing Lagos before the governors. The governors started emerging in what time? 1922. Governor Generals, Clifford Constitution. Before Richard and the rest of them, Macpherson, Lightotin, and all that. So if you, even before the British or the Britons instituted democracy here, they were administering democracy already from House of Lords, House of Commons in England. So Lagos was under the Queen.
Yes.
For so many years. So it has grown in stature. It had already, Lagos had all the trappings of a country before democracy even emerged.
Just like Hong Kong.
Yes.
Just like Hong Kong. Lagos and Hong Kong.
Yes.
Yes. Lagos and Hong Kong.
So he had all the trappings. So when he came in and became governor of Lagos State, the truth is that his 8 years as governor of Lagos State, he didn't do much. A lot of people don't know. He did some work in the island. Okay. His government was not all inclusive. They say he wrote the roadmap and all that for the new Lagos and all that. Fine, but he was not a fantastic governor.
Well,
people didn't make recourse to that when he brought out his manifesto for. It was not a fantastic one. It was Fashola,
yes,
and the others who came that did, considerably jobs that we could visibly see and lay hold to.
I'll come to you, Emeka, about some other things that the Afenifere said through Justice Faloye, the spokesperson. He referred to the fact that Lagos only has remained, has kept its face largely because it's an import gateway, and that I personally also was worried in 2019. I think that was when Sanwo-Olu became governor first. A few weeks after I was sworn in, it rained, and almost all the roads in Lagos were washed away. And I wondered if a single party has been in power for 20 years consecutively, and one day's rain can wipe away all the roads in the state. But I'll come to you on that, Emeka. But let me stay with you. This Afenifere says that they're going for the president's job. It means they're going to have to look for a candidate, and or they're going to back one that's already existing. It's curious because they did say that they are subscribers to the political doctrine of Afenifere, which is social welfare. And I'm not sure they quite said what the president stood for. But Mr. President has not been perceived to be maybe more of a businessman, in the sense that when you say capitalist, in the negative sense of it, people who just want to grab all they can. But and of course, Mr. President was a disciple of MK Abiola, who wasn't really on the same page with Afenifere. That, for me, appears to be an appeal to the Kingsman sentiment of originality. That that by origin we are the children of Awu, as opposed to MK Abiola. So that seems to be like hitting the president's underbelly. Do you see the Afenifere launching a major political wave that can either rattle or push the president off?
But from the outset, the Afenifere did not all supported the president. They did not. You notice that the leader of the Afenifere, they had faction. They broke into two sides. One blessed him, lay hands on him when he went to visit.
Chief Ruben Fashion.
Yes.
Ruben.
Yes. The other outrightly said no, that they want to support Peter Obi.
Yeah.
And are supporting a Southeastern. Yes, are supporting a Southeastern. So when you look at it from the beginning, there was discordance, meaning they did not all support him. But now, I mean, this communicate the issue, this statement the issue, seems to be the universal voice of the group, which will mean that those who were in doubt, who supported him, the faction that supported him that time, seem to have retrieved their support. And now they are coming up with this and say, no, you have failed. You are doing all this. You understand? Now, Tinubu is not exactly a welfarist. He's a welfarist when there's election or when people gather
by convenience.
Yes, when people gather at body lawn.
Shamefully.
And then he could dispense whatever I want to dispense and make it as sectional as possible. But he's not a global statesman. I think his vision of governance for me is not expansive enough. That is evident also in the wife's approach to utterances against certain tribes and the president not cautioning her. So you could see the motive that this is not one man we are going to, that is inclusive. All this exploit that you say he did in Lagos, he didn't allow opposition. He didn't allow PDP to breathe. That is what he has carried into governance now. Nobody must protest. Nobody must say subsidy is gone, is wrong. When they ask him, that assuming but not consider, a very brave journalist asked him, assuming but not considering that you are not going to run for this presidency, who do you think among the others that you will support? He said, none. Did you watch that interview?
Yes.
He said, none. You understand? So this is not a man that have that camaraderie. Is it camaraderie they call it? That have that
accommodation.
You can hear he doesn't have space for it. It's evident in Lagos. It's staring us at the face in Lagos. This is what he does not want opposition. But he joined forces with his political party to create one of the most dangerous opposition, the most poisonous opposition in politics in the history of Nigeria, using Lai Mohammed to execute all propaganda.
Yes.
He was the brain behind that.
Yes.
He personally also vilified Jonathan on the subsidy issue and mobilized against him, using propaganda to entrench, to ensure that this man.
And to think that was all just pure politics.
So one would have thought that if a man has gone that length, he should have an alternative to the dispute. He should have an answer somewhere. He had worked out the answer and kept it somewhere. But today, he's not given the opportunity to go get that answer out and put it at the scoreboard, walk the economy through that system so that we can see his capacity and the visibility. He has failed in all that. And we're not just the one saying he has failed, his kinsmen. It's like calling you into the room and say, see what you are doing. So at this point, if Afenifere think they can come out with a political party, why not? Every cultural group. I mean, how do we create Action Group?
Should have a political wing.
How was Action Group? It was created by the NYM, Student Nigerian Youth Movement. You understand? From Yabatek. Okay? So many other political parties started from one wing or the other. Nadeko gave birth to part of the people who came together to form the ACN and the APC and all that. PDP started from one wing too. Okay? So if they want to come up with another political party to respond, why not? All they need to do is to ensure that they create further alliances with other. Now that Labour Party is failing, it's a very good time to do that. And since they support Peter, why not call him to come on board? Then, because the APC that won election in 2015 was created in 2014. It was less than a year when he won election. So Afenifere can do that and then create alliances across. Or it's not just PDP that's the opposition. We have LP. We have PDP.
NNPP.
We have NNPP. We have every other, and
YPP and so on.
And those political parties are already meeting the idea of an alliance.
Yes.
So it's a good time for the Afenifere to do what they ought to do and join that alliance and ensure that they're able to wrestle power away from him. What they will do next, if they're able to create that, is to ensure that INEC become responsible for once. If they're able to come out to look at it, let the people believe they will need to capture INEC.
Very important.
And ensure that
they do the needful. Yes. Very important. Emeka, as we take this over, I said we'll step back a bit to the Lagos issue about the fact that Afenifere said there was really nothing the president should have held on to become president in the first place. He didn't do any fantastic job in Lagos. Lagos had always been Lagos. It was only Lagos. Lagos is only Lagos because it's an import gateway, and that essentially, as a person, as governor, he didn't do anything significant in the state. Nigerians bought that boogie, in the manner of speaking, the first time. If 2027 came today, what will Nigerians buy to make Tinubu president again?
Let me tell you something. I don't trust the average Nigerian voter.
Aha.
Let me be frank.
So if he doesn't buy, he can be bought. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I've been on the field now. The very people complaining, give them rice, give them beans, give them curry, give them some cash.
We hear the president is a very generous man.
It's not about being generous. You see, whose resources are you using for generosity? Yes, now, whose resources? Nobody goes into politics using his own money. Show me anybody in the world. It's only Ross Perot, the American billionaire, that put down his money. But what happened? His business almost collapsed after he ran for president as an independent. It's not easy. It's not easy to run what with your funds. Well, even Donald Trump, a billionaire, is soliciting donations. Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States of America, is soliciting donations, banking on donations. Yeah, the biggest economy in the world, and one poor African country, you say that one man will use his personal. Where? Go and audit it. Where did he get the money? Look, let me tell you something. What we need is a new social order. First of all, Nigerians must enthrone hard work, discipline, honesty, integrity. You see, this idea that politicians can give you El Dorado is mistaken. And that is why they continue to take us for granted, because everything we do, from top to bottom, go to the village level and everything, is all about consumption. Little about production. And that's why you see the economy is in this state. Why? Because people believe so much in handouts. So with handouts spread across, Nigerians will forgive even murder. And that's where we get it wrong. So why do you blame the same leaders who come from the same set of Nigerians? It's the same pool now. So, but what they do is, when they get there, like you've seen with their fights with Dangote, when they get there, they're very cozy. But when there's a problem, a dispute, they come to the public, to knock our heads together. And then we now take sides. Then when they now can meet together, come together and, backslapping and everything, iron out their differences, you don't hear anything again. You see, the thing is this. Sun Tzu said in his book, these 33 strategies of war, is in strategy 16. He said, hit your enemy where it matters most. And that is what Tinubu is afraid of. That's why he has put his 2 hands on the panic button. Look at the judge the other day. People said they are hungry and went on protest. You now said that each of them should pay 10 million as bail. I've never seen something as ridiculous as that.
Because they can't afford it.
So what you are doing is that the judiciary is fighting the ordinary Nigerian who is hungry. Let me tell you something.
No, the condition of bail is not paid for.
I agree, but even the fact that you can criminalize,
place that burden on them.
You can criminalize, yes, place that kind of burden on them. It's what is even better if you say go and produce 10 million. Then when they now ask you what is the worth of hunger, how do you? That means this hunger that these people are feeling is actually worth 10 million each. So what I'm trying to say is this: we need a new social order cutting across everywhere, or else one day this whole system will collapse.
All right.
It's not just about Tinubu. You get? It's not just about Tinubu. We saw that during Buhari's administration. We saw it in Jonathan's administration. You know, the Niger Delta largely saw nothing wrong with all the missteps of Jonathan. He didn't do the East-West road. Those of us who are shouting, you've not done the East-West road and you are going to the north to build our marginal schools. We are told to shut up. But at the end of the day, what do we have today? The East-West road, you know, during the rainy season is virtually impossible. People have to follow bush paths to get to the, to get to from Warri to Port Harcourt. So what I'm saying essentially is this: I praise Afenifere, but you know what? We have been disappointed also many times by these crusaders. You know, who came up, we will do this, we will do this, and at the end of the day, you know, we saw people saying, look at Julius Abure in the Labour Party last year. He and Apampa, you know, Lamidi Apampa were at daggers drawn. Suddenly, when they saw that, that this our game is being exposed, after they are gone to appeal court and all that, they came together. Right?
They had a windfall too that they shared.
Yes, they came together and they now started fighting Peter Obi. You know, because they know the Nigerian media has a liking for sensationalism. Once you just mention anything negative, you know, against Peter Obi, the media laughs it off. Even when the media knows that this is arrant nonsense. But that is the state of the media we have today. So now they are coming together to say Peter Obi is this, Peter Obi is this. But the media, you're not looking at the fact that once in June, INEC has recognized Julius Abure's faction. So the fact that 9 people around Julius Abure passed a vote of confidence in him is baseless, because INEC has recognized. As a matter of fact, INEC threw him out of a meeting between the INEC chairman and the party chairman. So one thing I just want to cap with is that
wrapping it up now.
Tinubu descending into fascism is a waste of time. We've seen terrible things happening, but what happened? They just went away like the wind. So I would just advise him. One, he should release all the embarked governance protesters, because he has no moral right to actually hold people who are hungry. No matter how they went protesting, you kill 40 of them. I think that should be enough. That should actually be troubling his mind.
It's actually 240 that was arrested. They just arrested.
Yes. So all of this put together, you don't have the moral rectitude to accuse anybody of anything. Those who are shouting like Dele Alake, all those eye service characters, you know, shouting, hey, they wanted to overthrow. Where's the legitimacy? If we begin to talk about legitimacy, out of millions of Nigerians, over 80 million Nigerians who collected PVCs, you had just about 6 million. You lack legitimacy on the score of the ballot. Tinubu had no legitimacy to become president. He had not. That election should have been cancelled and held. But you know, this is Nigeria, where we allow, you know, where something as small as one small dam in Meduguri, they were watching it filling up. Instead of discharging the water, they were watching it until it overflowed and cried, oh, this dam, oh, why? Something that overflowed in 1994. They were waiting. Oh, this dam, wild animals, prisoners have run away. And then
the lions were released.
And then we're now going for rescue efforts. Nigerians, let's stop fooling ourselves.
But Afenifere, I think that Mr. Maldonado has emptied everything out. But in 30 seconds, what path should Nigeria now take to redemption?
The path of redemption is to ask their senators to impeach the president. He has lost legitimacy. He has lost what it takes, you know, to hold a mandate of the people. There's a school of thought that say he didn't have any mandate in the first place. That was INEC that gave him a mandate.
You hold that school of thought?
Not necessarily. Okay. Because I need to prove beyond expression. Okay? But what I think is the people must ensure that if he does not leave before his tenure expires, through legal means, he should not come back. He should not be allowed to come back. But my fear about the people again is that they forget easily. And their pains are momentary to them. The moment you're able to give them some Ovita and some rice and the rest of that, they will even forget about all these 4 years coming. In 1 year, the analysis we have done on Tinubu, I'm not sure we did up to that in Jonathan's 6 years.
5 years actually.
Every day, yes, Jonathan 5 years. Every day, 1 year and well, you still have 2 years and have to go. So when exactly is he going to get it right? The people must ensure that this man does not return. It could be a strategist, it could be a whatever it is he has been in the past, but it's not for governance. It's not for governance. He lacked the capacity, even the moral courage for redemption. A man who makes a mistake and is given an opportunity to correct him, and he goes there and bypasses the issue, is a man that is unteachable. Is a man that cannot lead any kind of redemption. Well,
that's how far we can go on Homo Politicus today. I must thank you. On this very sobering note, I have to thank Emeka Madunago for being here today. I also have to thank Barrister Evans Ofeli for always being here whenever we call upon you.
It's my pleasure.
And of course, to the viewer, thanks for your time on Homo Politicus today. We hope that we've learned, that we're learning the right lessons and applying them, on a daily basis. If only that's all that we can even do to make our country better. Until the program comes your way again, we invite you to subscribe to our page on YouTube at Enterprise TV 7 and check out all our pages across social media. The same handle, Enterprise TV 7 applies. Our website is www.enterprisetvnews.com. Bye for now.